I heard that there was a record that got played in some club. Kind of sounding like Drake talking. Now, is that the next record he's gonna put out?
Word on the street is that Drake isn't done yet. He's reportedly gearing up to release another diss track, this time with Kendrick Lamar in his crosshairs. The news didn't just appear out of thin air either. DJ Akademiks, who's been closely tied to this ongoing lyrical feud, revealed the scoop straight from Drake's circle. With tensions already high, this latest move could crank the heat up even further in what's becoming one of the most talked about rap rivalries in recent years.
I don't like anything about Drake. I don't like his voice. I don't like what he talks about. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he walks, like nothing. I don't like his haircut.
I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be done.
Drake's caught in fresh controversy right as he's been trying to rebuild his image. New claims are surfacing, shaking his reputation and stirring up loud conversations all over again. Drake's name is making waves again, this time for all the wrong reasons. With headlines buzzing, his inner circle, including the OVO crew and a few high-profile media voices, are scrambling to control the damage. They're trying to paint him as a target caught in the cutthroat chaos of the music world. But here's the twist. The more they defend him, the more tangled the story gets. Even some close to him are slipping up, adding fuel to the fire instead of putting it out. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar, Drake's longtime rival, is keeping a low profile, letting the silence speak volumes. What started as a lyrical rivalry between Drake and Kendrick Lamar has taken a sharp turn into something far more personal and revealing. It's no longer just about who has the better bars. This feud is peeling back the layers of the industry, exposing the chaos that brews behind the spotlight. As things spiral, the drama isn't just intensifying, it's evolving. Even those who once stood firmly in Drake's corner are either stepping back or dropping bombshells that are making fans question everything. What once felt like rap competition now feels like the curtains are being pulled on a much darker truth.
But ain't nobody thinking about whether or not you're a pedophile or not when they listen to the music. They're just saying, damn, he ripped you to shreds. In these kind of situations, as great as somebody like Drake is, you're minimizing your own cachet. You're compromising it, rather. Because you're making people look at you in a different light because of how you're compelling people to react to you, because of how you've reacted to people just because of a song.
The conversation around Drake has shifted far beyond music. It's beginning to feel more like a deep dive into how he really operates behind the scenes. What's unsettling is that the most questionable remarks are now coming from people within his own inner circle, the ones expected to stand by him through anything. When even close allies start dropping hints that something's off, it raises a red flag that the situation might be more serious than fans first thought. Instead of shutting down the noise, recent interviews have only poured fuel on the fire. During a chat with DJ Vlad, DJ Akademiks attempted to defend Drake, insisting that no serious accusations have ever been made against him. But that defense backfired. Vlad quickly pushed back, claiming he's heard whispers, especially about exclusive parties held at Drake's place. And just like that, what was meant to silence speculation only made it spread faster. Whispers about what really goes down in Hidden Hills are gaining traction, and if the full story ever sees daylight, the impact could be massive. During a tense moment in his interview, DJ Akademiks tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, but ended up making a startling admission. Drake may have struck private deals to keep certain voices quiet. Coming from someone so closely tied to him, that kind of slip-up is huge. This isn't outside speculation. It's coming from insiders with first-hand knowledge, and rather than shutting rumors down, they're fanning the flames, loudly and clearly. Akademiks, once one of Drake's fiercest defenders, now finds himself unintentionally pulling back the curtain. These aren't baseless rumors. They're echoes from the inside, and they're getting harder to ignore. DJ Akademiks had already raised eyebrows once when he hinted that Drake may have arranged some sketchy behind-the-scenes meetings during the controversy involving LeBron James. Now, with more pieces falling into place, things are starting to feel a lot more serious than they did before. Despite efforts to bury the narrative, these rumors refuse to fade. Every time attention shifts to Drake's personal life, the same allegations resurface, louder than before. To make matters worse, Kendrick Lamar's fiery diss track Not Like Us is still ringing in people's ears, dealing blow after blow to Drake's public image, And now, the cracks are beginning to show in his own media machine. The team that once worked overtime to keep him untouchable is now stumbling, and their missteps are only adding to the storm.
When this battle started with Drake and Kendrick, that's they Biggie and Tupac moment. It was just all a battle of like, who's the best, Kendrick or Drake? And right now, Kendrick, he doing the concerts, pulling up. Don't get me wrong, I like Drop, Give Me 50, but that They Not Like Us, Mustard on the Beat. When you get a diss record that play in the club, sometimes it goes a little further. But Drake is Drake. He could drop a single tomorrow and everybody back on it. They all great. It was a phenomenal battle. It was something that, to me,
When someone like DJ Academics, who spent years helping craft Drake's public image, starts hinting that things might not be all good behind closed doors, it's no small shift. It signals a possible unraveling. And just as that dust hadn't settled, Baka Not Nice reemerged. He's not just another name in the mix. He's one of Drake's day one allies and holds weight within the OVO inner circle. In a recent interview, Baka attempted to smooth things over and quiet the noise. But instead of easing concerns, his comments only stirred the pot further. What was meant to be damage control ended up adding more fuel to an already growing fire. Baka's interview didn't land the way it was meant to. His whole tone felt like a last-minute attempt at damage control, insisting OVO's been misrepresented and that Kendrick's version of events skewed the truth. But instead of calming the storm, his vague, scattered responses only deepened the doubts. There was no strong pushback, no clear narrative, just confusion. It left the impression that things at OVO are chaotic behind closed doors, with people scrambling to contain the fallout. What was supposed to quiet the controversy ended up pouring more gas on the fire, and now, the noise surrounding Drake is only getting harder to ignore. Some of Drake's closest allies are only making things worse. After DJ Academics stirred up drama with his comments, OVO's Baka Not Nice stepped in, but not in a helpful way. In a recent interview, Baka addressed Kendrick's line in Not Like Us asking, "Why is he around?" Instead of clearing the air, Baka made it messier. He admitted he wanted to drop his own diss track, but Drake shut it down. Rather than defending the crew, his words raised more questions and made the situation look even more unstable. Baka's attempt to steer the narrative only added fuel to the fire. When he claimed Drake told him not to release a diss track, it raised even more eyebrows. Fans were puzzled by the idea of Baka, who's not known for getting into lyrical battles, suddenly wanting to drop one. To make matters worse, he tried to flip the blame onto Kendrick, demanding that if Kendrick's throwing accusations, he should provide legal proof. But that defense missed the mark entirely. Instead of quelling the rumors, it made them grow stronger, as it seemed like Baka was just grasping at straws to deflect the mounting suspicion. When asked about Kendrick's diss tracks, the question seemed to hit hard. One track accused him of hiding an 11-year-old daughter, so when asked if he had any other kids kept in the shadows, Drake responded, "I do, 4 in total. Is that a lot? I'd say so, yes." Then came the racial jab, with Kendrick questioning Drake's right to claim black identity, given his Canadian background. Drake was straightforward in his response, proudly declaring, "I'm proud to say that I do." His answers were blunt, but they didn't soften the impact of the barbs thrown his way. What started as a simple attempt at damage control quickly spiraled out of control during Baka's interview. Instead of just defending himself, Baka took it a step further, outright complaining that Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us was getting way too much attention online. Rather than addressing the issues head-on, his frustration became the focal point, raising more questions than answers. Instead of cooling things down, his remarks only fueled the fire, making the situation even more complicated. Baka's attempt to brush off the heat only made things worse. His claim that most of the buzz around Kendrick's diss was driven by bots fell flat, a recycled excuse that made the whole OVO camp seem even more desperate to downplay the backlash. But the real turning point came when Baka, fumbling for answers, said Kendrick's accusations needed official proof to hold weight. To many, this didn't sound like a defense. It sounded like an inadvertent admission, hinting at a murky past rather than clearing his name. Instead of silencing the critics, Baka's words only reopened old wounds and added more fuel to the fire. The twist? The legal troubles Baka tried to distance himself from are far from rumors. They're on the public record for everyone to see. Real charges, real convictions. And now people are starting to question how someone with that kind of past can still hold a prominent role in OVO. It's no longer just about Baka. The scrutiny is now shifting to the entire team. Fans and critics alike are wondering why Drake's inner circle continues to defend and rely on individuals with such a checkered history. The focus isn't just on one person anymore, it's on OVO as a whole, and the image it projects isn't looking any better. The entire OVO label is now under intense scrutiny, and the heat keeps rising. Kendrick Lamar's fans, along with Drake's critics, are pointing out the contradictions and mixed signals coming from Drake's camp. In an era where a public image can either elevate or destroy a career, OVO's response to the controversy is only making things worse. Rather than handling the situation with damage control, each new interview feels like another blow to their credibility. The impression is that the crew is completely out of sync with the accountability that today's hip-hop industry demands. As things continue to unfold, it's becoming clearer that OVO's approach is failing to address the issues at hand. The pressure on Drake is mounting, and his inner circle is showing signs of cracking. Key figures like DJ Academics and Baka Not Nice, who were supposed to defend the camp, are only fueling the fire. Their messy interviews and half-hearted attempts to explain things have exposed deeper issues within OVO, problems that go far beyond a simple rap beef. Baka's attempt to downplay his past and take jabs at Kendrick only backfired, making the situation worse. Instead of putting an end to the rumors, his response encouraged people to dig further, and what they're uncovering isn't pretty. Now, the label is facing more heat than ever. The integrity of Drake's entire operation is now being called into question, and the noise surrounding it isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Trying to brush off public records and labeling genuine, backlash as nothing more than bot activity is not just a weak move. It's becoming a textbook example of how not to handle a PR crisis. With each passing day, Drake's image is taking more hits. The bigger question is, does he really want to be remembered this way? Does he want to build a reputation as someone who can't stand strong in the face of criticism? Someone who's too fragile to handle the heat? Because if you take a closer look, that's exactly what's starting to stick. While Kendrick Lamar never outright called Drake a predator, the strategy coming from OVO and its defenders is starting to feel disorganized and disconnected from what audiences expect today. What's really raising eyebrows, though, is Drake's continued support for Baka, whose past is riddled with serious controversies. This decision is speaking volumes, showing that OVO operates by its own set of rules, where accountability seems to only apply when it's convenient. Now, fans, the media, and even critics are watching closely, questioning not just the actions of those involved, but the deeper values at play behind the scenes. OVO is struggling to navigate through the storm of scandal, but their attempts to deflect are crumbling under real scrutiny. Every time someone from Drake's camp tries to minimize past actions or distort recent events, the flaws only become more apparent. With Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us still making waves in the culture, OVO's awkward responses are doing more harm than good. Instead of diffusing the situation, they're unintentionally reinforcing the very points the diss track made. Drake's latest move is raising eyebrows. Rather than taking a step back and reflecting, he's doubling down on loyalty, bringing questionable figures back into the limelight. It's a high-risk gamble that's damaging both his reputation and his future. The public's patience for these contradictions is thinning, and fans are taking notice. Instead of showing any signs of growth or clearing out the clutter, it feels like Drake and OVO are in survival mode, desperately spinning the narrative. But all they're accomplishing is making things worse, not better. Fans were hoping for a change, a fresh beginning, but instead, they're witnessing more deflection, inflated egos, and a serious lack of accountability. Now, the fallout is inevitable. OVO is beginning to look less like an unstoppable force, and more like a group desperately trying to cling to a narrative that's rapidly slipping away. If this continues, it won't just be a rough patch. It could be the start of a full-blown collapse. For years, Drake had mastered the art of staying untouchable, always ahead of the curve, always in control. But now, the cracks are starting to show. Are you paying attention? When it comes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, I think it's great for the culture. I try to keep a level head, take everything with a grain of salt, because not everything being said can be true, I'm mostly focused on the wordplay, the metaphors, and the artistry they bring to the table. But I will say this, their actions have shifted the game for others who were gearing up to release their own work. Some were ready to drop, but now they're holding off, thinking, let me see how this plays out. We're in a new era now, though, one where the internet never forgets. Even the most polished moves can get pulled apart under the microscope. What began as a simple rap rivalry has evolved into something much deeper. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us wasn't just another diss track, it marked a cultural shift. The song hit so profoundly that it made listeners pause, turning their attention from just enjoying the beat to reflecting on the bigger picture. It didn't merely take aim at Drake. It forced the public and the industry to re-examine his circle and what it reveals about his character. This wasn't just about clever rhymes anymore. It became an open examination of Drake's values, the people he associates with, and how those choices speak to who he is. Now fans are questioning everything. Fans aren't just vibing with the tracks. They're going deeper, combing through timelines, pulling up receipts, and asking the hard-hitting questions. The veil has been lifted, and what's being revealed isn't as polished as it once seemed. In the past, controversies could slip through the cracks and fade with time. But now, every video, every quote, every messy attempt at damage control is recorded, replayed, and dissected across the internet. Within seconds, OVO's efforts to manage the fallout? Far too little, far too late. The digital world is watching everything, and no detail goes unnoticed anymore. This shift? It's a game changer. For years, top artists had the power to shape their own narratives, but now that control is slipping away. In the past, celebrities could drop stories, host interviews, and let PR teams sweep their issues under the rug. But those days are long gone. Fans today are more engaged than ever. They aren't just consuming the content, they're analyzing every lyric, tracing every connection, and demanding real answers. They want truth, they want clarity, and they're not backing off. The era of smoke and mirrors is over, and Drake's once untouchable hold over his public image is beginning to crack in this new age of transparency. OVO's fragmented, scattered attempts at damage control are only fueling the fire, making the situation worse instead of better. What was once met with silence, vague excuses, or blame shifting now feels like a desperate attempt to avoid responsibility. And fans aren't buying it anymore. The tactics that worked in the past now seem like clear signs of guilt, and with every new attempt to spin the narrative, the backlash only grows louder. Even the media, which once treated Drake with kid gloves, is beginning to shift. The coverage that used to be soft and flattering is now becoming more pointed, and insiders in the industry are starting to speak out, offering unfiltered truths. The more OVO leans into damage control, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just a PR mess, it's an unraveling. The control Drake once held is slipping away, and the public is starting to see through the smoke and mirrors. Even some of his most loyal collaborators, the ones who stood by him through thick and thin, are now conspicuously silent. That silence speaks louder than anything they could say. The unwavering support that was once his foundation is now absent, and it's hard to ignore the weight of that. This isn't just a blow to his image, it's a fracture in the trust between Drake and the fan base that once viewed him as the clever, unshakable genius. Now, the polished persona they believed in is starting to look like something else entirely. Drake's next move will be crucial. Does he step up, own up to his actions, and rebuild, or does he continue to evade and deflect until everything unravels completely? The path he chooses now could make or break his legacy. If he keeps dodging accountability, he risks becoming just another artist whose career wasn't derailed by their music, but by their unwillingness to face the truth. With every passing day, the cracks in his foundation grow deeper, and new revelations keep adding fuel to the fire. Time is running out, and the pressure is only intensifying. What began as a sharp jab from Kendrick Lamar has quickly spiraled into a full-blown unraveling of Drake's carefully crafted image. From DJ Academics accidentally letting crucial information slip to Baka Not Nice, fumbling through his defenses, it's Drake's own inner circle that seems to be chipping away at the very shield he once relied on. The once solid empire now feels shaky, and there's no avoiding the truth anymore. This is no longer just about a diss track. What we're witnessing is a seismic shift in the public's perception of Drake. Not Like Us was just the catalyst, but now it's about much more than lyrics. It's a deep dive into who Drake really is and what his brand truly stands for. The spark was lit, but it's the flames within Drake's own circle that are fueling this fire, and that's what makes it so impactful. What once seemed like just exaggerated rap bravado is now beginning to feel like a reality we all overlooked. The accusations that were once brushed off as lyrical jabs are starting to hit much harder, especially as those closest to Drake continue to make slip-ups, revealing more than they intended. Every new revelation isn't just adding to the chaos, it's reshaping the narrative of his entire journey. The real fear, though, isn't the mess that's already spilled out. It's what might still be lurking beneath the surface. If there's more waiting to be uncovered, it could change everything. The very people Drake's leaned on for years are now unintentionally, or perhaps not, spilling uncomfortable truths. Each revelation, whether accidental or deliberate, chips away at his credibility, making it harder to see a path back from this. What started as a simple rap beef has evolved into a full-blown crisis of trust. For years, Drake carefully built a powerful public persona, but now, that carefully constructed image is buckling under the pressure of the truths coming to light. If more voices from OVO continue to speak out or make slip-ups, it's tough to imagine him walking away without serious long-term damage to his reputation. The real question now isn't just how this will affect him, but how deep the fallout will go. Are we seeing Drake's inner circle collapse, or can he turn things around and face the truth? Will accountability take over, or will they keep spinning? The same tired story as the truth leaks out? Drop your thoughts. Did DJ Academics and Baka Not Nice expose something bigger than they realized? Is Kendrick Lamar's message proving more real than expected? Before you go, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated. This story's heating up, so share it and let's keep talking. Catch you in the next one.